Hey everybody, Craig DeLuz here, and I want to talk to you about a bill that we haven't talked much about, AB 2165. Now, it takes a little bit to explain, so it's going to take a little bit, but I'm going to promise you, stick with me. You'll find this, if nothing else, you'll find it entertaining. Now, we all know that the not unsafe handgun roster, it's a bunch of crap. We all know that it's basically a way in which to ban new semi-automatic handgun sales in the state of California because they require a thing called microstamping, which, oh, by the way, doesn't exist. So, now, until recently, law enforcement officials in the state of California were exempt, meaning if you pretty much had a badge, with the exception of a, security officer, but if you had a badge, you were largely exempt from the not unsafe handgun roster, meaning that you could buy or private party transfer off-roster handguns, once again, handguns that are safe and legal in other states, but illegal for private parties in California, but you could buy and sell them to anybody or private party transfer them to anybody, and you weren't limited in terms of how many you could do that for. Well, recently, Attorney General Kamala Harris actually decided to take a look at the law and actually readjusted the policy, creating basically two tiers of law enforcement. One tier that was able to private party transfer and own these and have possession of these firearms, and one group that wasn't. So here are the folks that are there. So here we have our tier 1 cops, and that largely includes state type cops like CHP, deputy sheriffs, and municipal cops, or like city cops, right? But then she created a group of lesser cops. Lesser cops are included like probation officers, who, by the way, spend a lot of time dealing and interacting with criminals who are on probation, ABC, or fire marshal. So now you have this group of lesser cops. So this group of lesser cops, I didn't create this, by the way. We didn't, at FBC, we didn't create this two-tier system. The legislature did. So now this lesser group of cops has lesser rights, meaning they have firearms that they've been purchasing and they own, by the way, that they are not supposed to have. And you've got officials from different agencies and whatnot all across the state telling them you have to get rid of these firearms. Oh, I totally forgot to mention, these are not their duty firearms. The state actually, or the agency that hires them, actually gives them their duty firearms. These are additional firearms that they can purchase for private use or for whatever. So you've got so now in their bill, AB 2165, you've got the tier 1 cops, right? This is as the law as it is right now. They're exempt from the roster, meaning that they're able to buy new and then private party transfer to anyone, all right? But then you've got our lesser cops. Now our lesser cops, they are still able to buy new, right? But they can't private party transfer to anyone, meaning that once you bought it, you own it. That's it. Even when you die, you cannot transfer it to anyone except other lesser cops. Meaning you have to find someone else who's a probation officer, works for ABC or a fire marshal or the state Supreme Court. I mean, now, what's interesting is when it comes to their firearms, they have even less rights than us law-abiding citizens. Because see, even though we can't buy new, we can PPT to or from anyone. Meaning, if someone owned a firearm that has fallen off the roster, they can still private party transfer it to a citizen. A tier 1 is able to private party transfer it to us as well, and us to them. So we actually, law-abiding citizens, have actually been elevated above the lesser cops when it comes to our rights. But wait, there's more. See, just because you're a lesser cop doesn't mean you give up your right as a law-abiding citizen. I mean, you can still purchase and get a firearm via a PPT from a tier 1 or a law-abiding citizen. Now here's the thing. When you do that, then on that firearm, there is no restriction. You only have the restrictions that are on the law-abiding citizen. So when you go into the FFL and you go to transfer a firearm, the FFL then has to figure out, how did you get that gun? How did you buy it? Did you buy it under your lesser cop exemption? If you bought it under your lesser cop exemption, guess what? It's yours. You can't transfer it to anyone except a lesser cop. Now, if you got it through your law-abiding citizen exemption, well then you can sell it to anyone else who is here. Are you confused yet? I'm pretty confused. So with all of this was all done, this amendment was done in order to prevent law enforcement officers from creating an underground market by selling guns that otherwise would not be available for sale in the state of California. Think of the recent LAPD gun sale scandal. It was all over the news. I'm sure all of you guys saw it. That's an example of what they're trying to stop. There's only one problem. Those were Tier 1 cops. That was LAPD. They would not have been exempted. This bill would have done absolutely nothing to stop what it is that they say that they want to stop. Now, all of that being said, let's take it one step further. None of this, absolutely none of this applies to criminals who will get their guns wherever they've been getting their guns and will continue to get their guns while the rest of us are reserved to having our firearms rights limited. Are you confused yet? Good. Are you upset yet? Good. That's why we need you to go and we need you to stand up and fight to kill AB 2165. We need you to go to firearmspolicy.org/AB 2165. Sign the petition. There should be a list. We're working on a list of legislators for you to call and tell them that, you know what? First of all, law enforcement, they don't deserve special gun rights, all right? All of us should have a right to have access to firearms that are in safe and legal use in other states within the country. So first of all, they're not entitled to special rights. But here's the other thing. No law enforcement officer should be restricted in terms of having lesser rights. And that's exactly what this bill does. By restricting the right of law-abiding citizens and law enforcement officials from being able to do whatever they want to do with their legally owned and legally purchased property. Folks, I'll say it as I always say it. This is about civil rights. You notice we talk about civil rights. This is about fighting for civil rights. You got to use them or you're going to lose them. This is Craig DeLuz from FPC HQ. We'll talk to you later.
If you like these updates, please share them with your friends and subscribe to our YouTube channel.